Travis Wayne Goodsall. Forgot to put this in. I meant to put it in. It was supposed to be at the beginning. I didn't put it in the beginning. I didn't put it in at all. So here it is. In corporate business world, there's what's called a CFO, a corporate financial officer. By being hired into that position, he doesn't automatically get the mantle of being the financial officer. He actually has to do the work. He doesn't get hired and then spends the rest of his life on vacation, going golfing, touring the world. No, he has to do the job in the financial department. Because if he doesn't do his job, he gets fired. And somebody else will be called and appointed to that position. And if you are doing your job and you're doing a good job, then yes, you have become the chief financial officer. But when you are first hired, they don't know yet. They see your resume that you're qualified, apparently, and they do the background checks to make sure. But you have to prove your worth to the company. You have to become the chief financial officer. It is not something that you're automatically given upon hiring. Likewise, with the prophets, seers, revelators, translators. They don't claim translator, did you notice that? Of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Now on with the show. Travis Wayne Goodsall. Section 107, verse 91. And again, the duty of the president of the office of the high priesthood is to preside over the whole church, and to be like unto Moses. Behold, here is wisdom, yea, to be a seer, a revelator, a translator, and a prophet, having all the gifts of God which he bestows upon the head of the church. In the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they teach us throughout our life about the mantle of priesthood office and deny it to women. When Joseph Smith gave it to women, 17 March 1842, it's in the Joseph Smith papers. Church won't change, though. Nope. They keep lying to you. They keep lying to you about everything in the church. Everything. About administration, about doctrine, about theology, about scripture, about history of the church. Every single thing. You can even categorize the lies into general categorizations and subcategories within each of the general categorizations for more specific lies that they tell. The church just lies about everything, about who our Christ is, about the type of religion that we are, the name of our church, with Joseph Smith as the founder. They cannot tell us the truth. And it's blatantly obvious that it's the church of the devil, because the devil delighteth in lies. He's the author of all lies. But Mormons don't want to make that connection. Why? It's in our scriptures. Anybody who lies is of the devil. So do Mormons say to hell with the devil, or do they shout at the devil? They shout at the devil, because ex-Mormons say to hell with the devil. And so it's the same thing with seer, prophet, revelator, and translator. They never are put in the right order. These are science categories. And as science categories, you have to become them. Be them. You don't just automatically get it because, well, you now put on the mantle of the president of the church. Now all of a sudden you can translate. Because Nelson has demonstrated he can't. But the church is lying because every time that Nelson botches translation at the pulpit of conference, they change the manuals. And so anybody who does know translation sees that and goes, what the bleep? This church is crazy. They're screwing up translation. Got all these Mormons coming into my classroom thinking that they know translation because the living prophet of Jesus told them that this is how it's supposed to be translated. And now they're upset with me, demanding that I change the course curriculum of the linguistic science of translation to conform and comply to their will. And going to the Supreme Court to get it changed. Etc. This is an abomination, guys. And so you either are a seer, revelator, prophet, translator, or you're not. Nelson is not. No matter how much cover up you do, he's not. He's a fraud. And the church helps protect and perpetuate the fraud, the con. And so the church, apologists especially, were the ones who caused this. In order to protect the church, they then said, well, Joseph Smith never said he was a translator. Yeah, he did. Yes, he did. But you have to pay attention to what he's referring to and when he's referring to and what he's referring to. What he says. And so this whole concept of a gift, we think of being given by someone else to the president of the church. And so God gives the president of the church seership, revelatorship, translatorship, prophetship to the president of the church. He's got the gifts and he just needs to access them whenever he wants. And you denounce the Book of Mormon that teaches you about the word being merely a seed, and you have to produce the fruit, which is the gift of the seed. Oh, that changes the whole interpretation of verse 92 here, doesn't it? That God doesn't give the president of the church the ability to be a translator, a seer, revelator, and prophet. The president of the church became those and was voted in by the whole Melchizedek priesthood because he exhibited the fruits of being a seer, revelator, translator, and prophet. That's a big difference of interpretation, isn't it? And so we'll cover Alma concerning this concept. It's 13. Okay. Always get 12 and 13 mixed up. I would that ye should remember that the Lord God ordained priests after his holy order, which was the order of his Son, to teach these things unto the people. Those priests were ordained after the order of his Son. What's the name of the order? We got to go back to section 107, don't we? In a manner that thereby the people might know that in what manner to look forward to his Son for redemption. For this is the manner after which they were ordained, being called and prepared from the foundation of the world according to the foreknowledge of God, on account of their exceeding faith and good works. In the first place, being left to choose good or evil, therefore they, having chosen good and exercising exceeding great faith, are called with the holy calling. Yea, with that holy calling which was prepared with and according to a preparatory redemption for such. And thus they have been called to this holy calling on account of their faith, while others would reject the Spirit of God. To become a high priest in this church, you have to be a relative. But there's that Mantle conundrum that is screwed up, in which you're now a high priest, therefore you're righteous. You don't have to do faith without works, because it's dead. You can only do faith without works, because you're alive. See how screwed up this is? You have to produce the fruit. You have to show the gift that you are good and righteous, that you've been blessed. The results of your faith. You don't become a high priest and then automatically you are good. You don't send boys on their mission to change their lives. You're supposed to send out boys on their mission because they've already changed their lives. Seeing the difference here? Mormons have been duped by this simple lazy learner con that they've put on you. See, Nelson goes and calls you lazy learners in conference, when the church made you lazy learners. September 6th were excommunicated from the church because they were making discoveries in church history. And even though they were trying to reconcile it, because they were Mormon, they believed the church was true, and so they were trying to harmonize the evidence with an interpretation to bridge the gap. The church is still true, but here's the evidence. So the church excommunicated them. Wrong conclusion. The church wants to keep it all hidden. And they brought it out, so they got excommunicated. And so the church then spent conference time preaching of the evils of gaining intelligence. They called it intellectualism. They were demonizing education. They were demonizing the scientific process. Methodology. And so Mormons, Mormons fell for this. I've been a witness of this through that whole transition period. And Mormons were making excuses. That's deep doctrine. I only want to stick with the basics. I don't want to actually study my scriptures. I might stray from the church. We need to ban the scriptures because they're pornographic. See what the church did? They caused the problem. They will never tell us the truth that the scriptures are in the learning of the Jews, which means they are not literal history. They are not about Jesus. And thus comes the problem. And so, as Joseph Smith prophesied, as a prophet, seer, revelator, and translator, he's telling Mormons to look for the man like Moses, who is the true president of the church in the latter days, when the great and abominable church is holding Mormons hostage, and tells Mormons to look for a Mormon who will have the gifts of prophet, seer, revelator, and translator, so that you will not be deceived. And Joseph Smith even warns Mormons about this for the sole purpose of not being deceived by con artists who will rise up in the church to deceive Mormons. O hearken, ye elders of my church, and give ear to the words which I shall speak unto you. Section 43. Behold, verily, verily, I say unto you, that ye have received a commandment for a law unto my church, through him whom I have appointed unto you to receive commandments and revelations from my hand. Joseph Smith. And this ye may know assuredly, that there is none other appointed. Not Brigham Young and his 12 apostles, which this was before that, wasn't it? This was 43 or 33? 31. Long before Brigham Young. Brigham Young joined the church next year in 1832. And already there are Mormon elders who were thinking that they knew better than Joseph. Only Joseph is a prophet, seer, revelator, and translator. I just read it to you. Only the president of the church. But what are all the other 14 prophets, seers, revelators doing as prophets, seers, and revelators? Oh yeah, Brigham. Brigham, as the president of the 12, didn't even get that. So what is he doing with it? And why is he giving it to the others? Is he trying to deceive us? Yeah. They don't have the gift. They're not even supposed to have the gift. What are they doing with the gift, and why are they spreading it around? We are told Brigham Young does not have the gift. He is not appointed to have it. He is not to claim succession of Joseph Smith. he must be voted by the whole Melchizedek priesthood. And this shall be a law unto you, that ye receive not the teachings of Brigham Young, that shall come before you as revelations or commandments. He's doing this before Brigham Young. So obviously Brigham Young's not in here. You are checking this, right? You're going, Brigham's not. He's not in there. He doesn't call him by name, Travis. I'm likening the scriptures. This is how you do it. And this I give unto you, that ye may not be deceived, that you may know they are not of me. And so he talks about the gate. And so you are only to teach what has been taught by the president of the church, which was Joseph Smith. You are only to teach his word from the scriptures, and especially the keystone, which is the Book of Mormon, not Brigham Young's alterations, so that you won't be deceived. And so Joseph Smith says, in the latter days, when Mormons are held in bondage because they were deceived, God will give prophet, seer, revelator, and translator to his latter day Christ. Remember, learning of the Jews, not Jesus Christian. So that you won't be deceived by President Russell Marion Nelson, aka Mars.